Yo, what's up, guys? I made videos before about talking about which presets do I recommend people to use which are more obtainable, but then people also did ask, what are your presets? What do you normally do your world guild battle with? Because I'm also lazy, I also don't want to rerun, so I'm just going to be hitting this. This actually does look like a pretty good set of defenses, and we're just going to be placing the main things that I'm mostly using. So I am using this team over here. That team will outspeed that. That is totally fine. I do think that this one can actually still be clapped by this team over here. This team is a little bit tricky to go for this team, actually, but I think it could kind of work. And with that in mind, I could use this team over here, and then we go for a Feng Yanger over there. So what are these teams looking like? Well, first of all, this team is the team that I have showcased multiple times already. It's just a very typical team. This is the typical guild's own. Oh, the only thing is, you are on a little bit of a bad build because I'm using you in R5 right now of the water R5. Kind of YOLO, I don't care. Typical Feng Yang team, nothing too special on that as well. Then we have Neftis, which is pretty fast. Triton, not going to show because it's on defense. And then this Sienna. And then a team that I'm actually liking a lot, which is this team over here. It could be that you are pretty crazy fast, but we shall see how that works out. And then we have a bunch of other hits as well that we will do with different hits. And as mentioned, this one is one of those teams like, sure, does he actually stun things? So he stuns things by a little bit. He actually gets more stuns in than I expected. I proc out, and then whole team dead already. This team is just, I've been showcasing this team a whole bunch of times, but every time I use this team still, it's just like, why is this so absolutely bonkersly strong? Like, sure, it was the proc out, but then again, he had a decent stun rotation as well. So, okay, that's pretty bad usage of skills. Did actually not kill you, which is actually really good, because now in this hit, you will get the Oblivion potentially. Okay, can't really use that as of right now, but at least you have the Oblivion in, and because of the Oblivion, I can start taking you out in a later hit. Do we get this skill off? Does get that skill off. That is still not really an issue as long as I start killing it on this hit right now. Yep, did actually kill it. That's good. Okay, we are down to the final life of the Perna, which could be annoying if this thing is full on damage, but now he will start taking some time to actually kill the Samath, which gives me a chance for both units to get their skills back. So most of the time, you don't really want to use this team all too much against something with double life. But in the end, this is really good against any Maximilian, any Neftis team. Most of the time, this kind of stuff does work. So this is definitely a bit more of a bruiser hit. Elsharian is in there. I don't really expect them to do too much damage. I'm not really going to be wasting, or well, in this case, I will be using immunity, but I'm not really going to be doing all too much towards getting boss, because those boss will be stolen and that kind of stuff. But you already see Elsharian does like near to no damage. So a little bit of a longer fight, absolutely. Is it a very safe fight? Yes, definitely. And it doesn't even take that long if you do get some additional turns in your Feng Yang, because that's the main one that always does the good damage, especially if you start hitting it for no reason. Is Feng Yang stunned? Yep, Fenger is stunned. Well, a little bit of attack bar gain, and he gets that skill back. But then again, this team doesn't have any form of healing, so the team is actually really properly terrible. But it just takes a little bit of my time. That's just about it. I have seen some Sahad teams which weren't that bad, but this one is definitely kind of bad. I would recommend to go for Sahad next to also, not Sahad, Sahal next to a Sahad. Yep, then you have both of them. Because then it's like kind of more RNG added into it with more strip potential and those kind of things. Sure, steal my defense buff. You did. It's fine. Let's clear you first before we get another holy ground, whatever that skill is called. If we do have the chance to, double hit on that, that remove my death buff. And without death buff, I don't do that much damage on a death buff on their side. But it's still like one of those super easy hits. At least the video is not 3 seconds by cleaving everything. But I think next round I will cleave everything, and I also will be using 2 World Guild battles. I will be doing the one from today and the one from tomorrow, otherwise video might be a little bit short. And yeah, that's just, it's not that hard. You just have to get a few presets in. Like, that's the main thing. You don't really have to go full on reruning and that kind of stuff. Just get a few good presets in, and with that, you're nearly already done for your whole World Guild battle for a while. You just have to make sure that that's actually a recommendation as well. If you hit very early, you can choose the target. So you can hit anything that your presets are most optimal for, and therefore you can get very quick victories in. So that's definitely one of those things that you could go for. That's like, hey, I cannot outspeed everything, but I got like 2 or 3 outspeeding teams and then 2 or 3 non-outspeeding teams. Oh, this one was actually properly fast as well. That was a very fast Laura, actually. That's if that thing outspeeds me. This is a pretty fast set on the Triton as well. So that's a properly fast set. Good thing that it actually derped. Not sure if this thing would have been in tune, but that's actually kind of nutty and dangerous. So we go in for this. We can take you out with this hit. That is very easy. Then I think we're going to do some damage on you already because that S2 will guarantee crit. And because of those guaranteed crits, there's a lot of damage or like a lot of HP gone. And then there's pretty much nothing going on for that unit altogether anymore. Could have done the S2 on you to get the Oblivion in, but doesn't really matter all too much. I'm not sure if you start stacking from 0 again. No, you keep stacking on from where you left off. I really like this Lightseer team. She's so good for the cleanups. But yeah, those were all of the hits were relatively easy except for the Laura one. The one was a little bit more tricky. So let's go for this one. Most of the time, I think people like to hit something like this a little bit more because it's just, you have more options for outspeeding. So in this case, I do also really like to use Lightseer against Terranese teams. That's most of the time absolutely not an issue, except that you will be hitting you. Is that kind of an issue? I think we can... No, actually, let's take a different team on that. We can easily also do a team like the Sienna team. Sienna team, I have 2 options for. I could go for Triton if I want to heavy outspeed. I could go for this one if I don't need the heavy outspeed. So that gives me 2 options right there, which is pretty nice in the first place. This one could be countered by that as well, same as this. Yep, okay, few options out there. I think, which one is easier to outspeed? This one is definitely an outspeed, so let's use that typical team out there. You, let's see what does make most sense. I don't think you're going to be super fast. We will have a little bit of issues with you and you. So, in that case, I could go for... Yeah, actually, let's go for this team. You will kill you will kill you, and then we're good to go. If I do outspeed, I haven't showed the runes on that team just yet, but I will do that in a second. And then this one is a little bit hard to outspeed as well. Let's actually use this over... No, wait, we're going to use a little bit indecisive. This team over there, this team, I could also use this over there. That is totally doable. Kill you first and then Bruiser you out while still having buffs. That's totally fine. You still go over there and then, yeah, that's that. So teams that I didn't show as of yet is the Hyanis with the Verad and then the Homunculus. And this one is just typical Robo kind of style. And then over here I got double ignore defense, including Ian with a Bastet in there. That's not crazy fast, but it's a little bit on the speedy side. 221er. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. So let's move in with this first of all. So I do think that I might be able to do this into also a clear on this. Okay, not really just yet, but we do have the immunity, so not really fearing its hits as of yet. Too bad he didn't go for an S2. If he wasted the S2, would have been a little bit better for me in that position. Did glance on that one. That doesn't make sense. Let's just go for S1 because you have speed buff. Can already see that we're getting in a lot of damage right there. Do we even start lapping? Yeah, we already started lapping. It's just Lightseer for this kind of stuff. It's so good. It's too bad it's really not an RTA unit, but... Well, you could place it in RTA, but then it's just so easy to target it down. It doesn't have like the right scenarios and everything. This is actually kind of cool with Sienna, where you can get like full 160-ish bar because I've been hitting on that many debuffs, and then you can just simple clear. Maybe I should have actually let that alive because of the silence, but yeah, it's kind of fine because probably anything would live and then can hit that thing. Let's hit you again. Yep. This team is also super solid. A little bit premium though, maybe. A little bit premium though. But hey, we like some premium teams right there though, right? Gotta add in some premium teams here and there. Okay, so this is the very typical team. I guess there is revenge on you, which could be a little bit annoying if I don't land my shits early on. Did miss on that one, but that's kind of fine. Let's Death Break you. While it's Death Broken, it's easier also for the Verad to hit all of those things. I guess that Verad already would be hitting that in the first place, but yeah, you already see like 2-turn freezes. Like, try proccing out of that, sir. Not possible. Like, good luck. This team is just absolutely bonkers as well. That's definitely where I stopped using my old Ian team, and therefore I also have like the thing that you will see after this, which is my new Ian team, which is like kind of the replacement for. So we could have had 4 turns freeze on that with that S2 right there. So yeah, this is my new Ian team. Ian damage, I'm always feeling a little bit lackluster about it, but it is okay-ish damage. Like 60k with like a full-on damage set is not that much. Same for the Kiara, but in the end, it does do good enough. Most of the time, I throw this one on the Bastet, and then we just go for a little bit of a Bruiser over there, but we still have like this skill coming in. So it's definitely that both of these units could kind of be replaced by like any different nuker, but the two of them together, it kind of works fine because of like having the speed buff, getting your skill back, having you for an ignore passive kind of scenario. So it's definitely not a bad unit altogether. So this is the reason I wanted to use this, because even if you were to strip this, like sure, strip something, proc 6 times, have that one go, I don't care. Like sure, you kill this in one rotation of procs, I don't care, because your whole team is pretty much dead already. Like I don't need these units to be alive. I only need 2 units to clap your whole team in one rotation. This team is just absolutely way too strong. Like out of all of the LDs I have, maybe with the exception of the Light Siri team, this team just feels like one of the safest, like, absolute clapping things. So that was the World Guild Battle of today. It's gonna be a new one in 7 hours. I will also do that for this video, so check you there. For the second World Guild Battle, I recorded everything without sound, so we're gonna do a voiceover. This is actually a particular team, and actually this whole guild did it, where they rocking everything with speed lead. And if you want to make good World Guild Battle defense in the first place, putting up speed lead in everything is actually really good. And we're fighting the strongest team with this Sylvia, with also, I would say, my strongest team, which is the Tomoe, Trix, and Amber. But then after that, it's kind of tricky of saying, like, okay, what can I outspeed, what can I not outspeed? Because first team, Chandra could be Swift. Second team, you could put Swift to the Songqing Lao. Third team, you have Swift on the Trite, potentially. Fourth team, you have Swift potentially on the Ian. And then on the 5th team, you could put a Swift towards that Burkill. So that's definitely one of those things. If you want to get at least 1 or 2 victories in your World Guild Battle defense, then it is highly recommended to give a speed threat in everything. So they kind of have to gamble, like, okay, where's the actual speed located at, rather than just going for simply outspeeding all of them. Because if they have a speed threat on everything, already Tiana is no longer really an option. So that's just one of those things, and that's what I was also contemplating over here, because I do have some speed threats, but I don't have speed threats that can potentially have accounted to everything as a speed threat ruined up. So that's definitely one of those things as a preset. If you're fighting those kind of opponents, it is recommended to just hit very early and just hit someone that has a little bit less speed threats in it, because that's just the presets you have over there. So first of all, this one definitely does seem like a speed threat most of the time. If they don't have speed, they will be on more will runes. Also, what I noticed with this guild, they are allergic to freaking will runes, man. This team, 0 will runes at all. Got a little bit tricky over here, but then we can just smack in for a torrent, and then we just do that. Most of the time, my Leo is already located at minus on light. If it is not the case, then definitely minus light would be highly recommended on this one. But it's just from what I've noticed, like most of the time I use it against like Seraphs and like Narshas and whatnot, and then minus light is most likely the thing that I have to use it the most against. But easy, clear for that one, not the big a deal. But this one, yep, it was a speed trap on that one. So for that reason, we do have issues over here. I thought maybe on the S2, if we get a little bit of pushbacks, see that over here. Oh, I just noticed that it's a little bit off the screen. This is maybe a little bit better. So yeah, at that point, it's just getting kind of rough. You could still win from here if you get all your skills off and you full pushback and freeze everything. But we got resisted on the Zhongshan La. And then we do this one, which did not even activate on the Zhongshan La, apparently. So yeah, that's just where it's kind of difficult to come back from it. That's why you just simply lose this hit. That's just one of those things. With this team, you definitely do have to outspeed. If I were to have full will, my team wouldn't really have changed anything. So in this case, I do miss the pushback on the middle unit, but he gets the pushback on me. But I'm still fast enough because, like, just the comparison between my 2 dark units and his 2 dark units, I'm a little bit faster. Except for the fact that his bird goes 3 times, which I don't really like. But my Sienna kills him on it. Very strong unit still. This one, easy outspeed because 28 lead and bases are about same. I think he has a little bit higher on the base, like 1 higher on the base, but I got like 4 higher on the lead. So most cases will be kind of fine, but it's definitely one of those things that could still go wrong. Cleanup on this one is definitely not that hard, especially if I do land the Oblivion. But even without the Oblivion, I think Siri would have beaten that in most cases. And then the final hit, which was actually not a Swift unit. But once again, like, they are allergic to Will Runes. Why is there 0 Will Runes on this team when it's not even that fast? But this is why I claim this team to be the strongest team out there. Half team is already like, or we have one unit already have that, and then we do this S2 and whole team is dead already. Like, they're just simply dead already. This team is so absolutely strong. It's really insane. So therefore, this is the must out of must presets to make for sure. Then on to the next hit. Once again, lots of speed leads, but one without speed lead. And that is actually something I did not think of, and you will see that in a second, how that defense is run. So these are the hits going in. Pretty similar hits, except that I'm now using a Tiana. But Tiana against a Savannah is something that they could actually speed trap. So once again, using, well, arguably against the strongest team, my strongest offense as well, which is the least LD5 offense that I have. But this is just stupidly strong for the whole team. Like, if you get some skills off, also, if I get interrupted early and I still get like 1 or 2 skills off, then I only need 2 units and their whole team would die. It's just like how much damage output this one have is just absolutely insane. It just simply does so much damage. Then this one, once again, allergic to Will Runes is what they're doing. They're doing a double shield plus Nem set. Like, how does that even work? Because you're not nemming if you're shielding or something like that. I don't know. So, yeah, it did not really work out in this case. Triton is definitely a little bit more of a tricky hit, but it's one of those things that I have runed up for defense normally, so therefore I just kind of tend to use it. This case, once again, no Will Runes inside. They just don't like to use Will Runes or something. You do have the unit on the right. Could be a little bit annoying if he starts stunning and all of that kind of stuff, because I cannot stun that one in the end. But I was like, as long as we reset it, it's a 2-turn reset. He doesn't go full ham on me. It's probably still fine. Like, that's the thing. 2-turn reset on that Homunculus is just absolutely busted. That's also one of those units. I wonder if it would be in RTA, if Unbalanced Field would be a good unit for RTA. I think it would, because 2-time cooldown on your whole team and 2-time cooldown on their whole team, plus speed buff plus slow is absolutely busted. Sure, you could kind of counter it with like Nobaras and Pharaoh monsters and that kind of stuff, but that would be pretty busted. But yeah, this is the issue. My Tiana was like plus 215-ish, but 215 is not fast enough to actually do this. Plus it had a resistance lead, and the resistance lead made it where, yeah, that's just not really going that well. Neftis in this team would have probably done a little bit better, but then again, would have also still not really been on speed check for anything. So that's kind of the issue right there. If I were to go into this team with a full wheel team, I would have probably won. So that's definitely one of those things. Like, sure, if there is a Sav on the enemy team, it could be a Swift Trap, one of those things. Did not really think of it when I went into this, but that's actually a recommended thing to do. If you go for Savannah, is a Swift Trap. If you want to counter that, probably full wheel is your way to go to actually clear that, because the other 2 units would have never been like really Swift targets, because that just simply wouldn't make any sense. But the Sav on Swift would actually make sense. But then we have a final speed check Siri team. I think my absolute favorite team would be the Amber Tricks team. Second one would be probably this team. This team is also just doing so much work. Did hit a 0-0 over there, but this team simply just has so much version of cleanup with the Light Siri. Light Siri is absolutely super strong in this. It is very easy to replace by just a Water Siri. That's definitely a thing. But for cleanups, Light Series, absolutely, really, really, really freaking strong over there. And then just simple cleanup. And that is that for all of that World Guild Battle. So in the last World Guild Battle, we did lose 2 out of 10, which is not that recommended. But those are the things that are just always ruined for me. I don't have to switch anything. It's just like click, 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 let's go. Maybe I should add in a Hay Gang team, because if the enemy is full on outspeed, there's most of the time something that a Hay Gang can pick up against those outspeed comps as well, which gives me a little bit more flexibility. But in the end, I only need like 5 or 6 different hits to make all of those hits possible for World Guild Battle without having to think too much. Well, guys, that's the video for World Guild Battle. Thanks a lot for watching. I see you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.